Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Craig Stammen's postgame comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score tonight in St. Louis at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals 3 and the Padres 2, as the Padres have dropped the first two games of this three-game set in St. Louis. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. A lot to do. We'll recap this game from start to finish. We'll also go back to Busch Stadium, hear from Craig Stammen in just a little bit. Padres dropped to 37-35. Cardinals improved to 40-31, and now the Padres will try to avoid a three-game sweep in St. Louis tomorrow morning with first pitch at 11:15 a.m. Well, this was pretty much the same story as yesterday. The Padres offense really struggling. Yesterday, even more so, the Padres shut out on one hit against Dustin May. Tonight, it was the right-hander Andre Pallante on the mound for St. Louis. He was really good again for his second straight game. The Padres had the first 14 batters of the game retired. Remember, May pitched 6 perfect innings yesterday. Well, Pallante had 4 2/3 perfect innings in this game before the Padres did get a base runner aboard, and they did end up cutting a 2-0 deficit to 2-1. Then it was 3-1. Not a great outing tonight for Michael King, no doubt about that. And the Padres ultimately get within a run to make it 3-2, unable to ultimately tie this game. We'll get into what Michael King did. It was not a great start for Michael. It's been very up and down for him as of late. But I think it's pretty clear. I mean, this is, again, all about the offense in this game. The Padres had a grand total of 2 runs on 4 hits. You zoom out on this series, the Padres have 2 runs on 5 hits in the first 2 games of this series combined. That's 18 innings of offensive baseball, 2 runs on 5 hits. And look, that's just not going to work. I mean, you're putting just an enormous amount of pressure on your pitching staff, which, by the way, despite Michael King being not great today, and despite you having to use an opener yesterday ahead of Lucas Giolito, guess what? Your pitching has been just fine in this series. They've given up 3 runs in both games, but that has been a number too much for the offense to overcome. Again, anytime where you look at 2 games of a series and you've got 2 runs on 5 hits total, you're not giving yourself a very good chance to win those games. And that's the way it's been the first 2 games of this series in St. Louis. And again, this was another game where there was a St. Louis starting pitcher that was just really good. I mean, Andre Pallante totally in command in the first 4 2/3 innings. Padres got to him in the 5th inning, got a run against him in the 6th inning. They would put the tying run into scoring position in the 6th inning, but I am unable to get that hit to tie the game. And ultimately, they lose by that 3-2 final score. And I think the big picture right now, and we've detailed the Padres' offensive struggles at length throughout the first half of the season. It has been, I think, unfortunately, the story of the first half of this baseball season. Well, unfortunately, you kind of felt coming out of that series in Baltimore, Padres had won back-to-back series against the Reds and the Orioles. The offense was showing signs of starting to come around. Well, hey, any kind of momentum they had, it feels like it's kind of gone out the window in these first 2 games in St. Louis. But again, just 2 runs on 5 hits in the first 2 games of this series. So the Padres will try to get it going offensively in the series finale tomorrow. Another little part of this game that is not great is the Padres have now officially lost the season series to the Cardinals. And you might be wondering, okay, well, why is that a big deal? Well, you know, you never know how things play out when you get later in the year and you talk about wild card spots. And now the Cardinals will hold the tiebreaker over the Padres. Again, not really something to worry about in mid-June, but it's the kind of thing we know with this new playoff format, the kind of thing when you get late in the year, you start looking at and could be the difference between having a higher seed or making a postseason or not making the postseason. So That's not great that they've now lost the season series already to the Cardinals, a team that is not leading their division. Right now, they're ticketed for a wild card spot. Again, we got a long way to go, and I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but that's another aspect of this game and so far this season series that has not been great from a Padres standpoint. And again, the offense today, once again, the story or lack thereof. Once again, the story. Padres pitching has been plenty good enough in this series. You give up 3 runs a couple of nights in a row, you expect you're going to have a pretty good chance to win those games. And the Padres on the short end of both of them in St. Louis. When we come back, we'll get into the highlights. We'll recap this game from start to finish. Take some of your phone calls later if you want to get them in. Hear from Craig Stammen. Much, much more to do. Final today, Cardinals 3, Padres 2 on the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score here today, Cardinals 3 and the Padres 2. We'll go back to St. Louis, hear from Craig Stammen coming up in a little bit. Hey, player with epic SoCal views, a full bar and poolside bites, Starlight Pool at Jamul Casino Resort is pool season perfected and day passes are available. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. I was just saying to our studio coordinator, Jeff Hamby, we have the off day on Thursday here in San Diego. Padres are off before they begin that series in Texas on Friday. I was saying to Hamby, maybe I'll go out to Jamul Casino Resort on Thursday, enjoy the pool and the food and all the good stuff out there. Who knows? Sounds like a nice way to spend a summer off day. So we'll see about that. Maybe I'll go out to Jamul Casino Resort. Sounds like a great time. And as always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Middle game of this 3-game series tonight in St. Louis. Let's rewind it.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup tonight, Michael King against Andre Palante. Both righties delivered a scoreless opening frame. King then ran into trouble in the second. He issued a leadoff walk to Lars Nootbaar. He was at second base with 2 men away for Blaze Jordan.
The 0-2 pitch. Jordan lines it over Bogarts into left center. A base hit. Nootbaar around third. He'll score as the ball finds the alley, rolls all the way to the base of the wall. Blaze Jordan an RBI double, and the Cardinals lead it 1-0.
St. Louis not done. Next up for the Cards, Nathan Church.
Cardinals. This pitch is lined to right field. Samad Taylor over towards the line, not going to get there, and that will get another run home. Jordan crosses the plate, an RBI single for the 9-hitter Nathan Church, and the Redbirds lead it now 2-0.
Cardinals had that early 2-0 lead for a second straight night. A Cardinal starter was dealing early on. Palante retired the first 14 Padres batters of the game. Second time in as many games in this series that the first 14 batters of the game had been retired from a Padres standpoint. Padres were trailing 2-0 when Samad Taylor reached on an infield single with 2 outs in the top of the 5th inning. First base runner of the game for San Diego. Taylor stole second. Ty France was at the plate.
Taylor at second, 2 outs. The pitch is lined into center field. That's down to the base hit. Church is charging. Taylor's rounding third on his way. Here's the throw to the plate. Not in time. Now a throw down to second. The tag of France. He's out. Padres do get a run, but Ty France thrown out at second base by Herrera, and that will end the top of the 5th inning.
Yeah, France thrown out at second by quite a bit, trying to get down to second base on a throw that went all the way to home plate. So that did make it a 1-run game, but France erased at second base. King returned to the mound in the bottom half of the 5th inning. He hit Ivan Herrera to start the frame. He allowed a single to Alec Burleson. With runners at first and third and 1 out, the Padres took King out. They went to Yuki Matsui to face the left-handed hitting Nootbaar. Nootbaar hit a sac fly to center. Cardinals had a 3-1 lead as another run scored. King went just 4 innings and a third. He allowed 3 runs through 93 pitches in just 4 innings and a third. In the top of the 6th inning, Padres trailing 3-1. Palante got the first 2 outs, but then Fernando Tatis Jr. singled. Jackson Merrill was next.
Not going on the first pitch. Merrill swings, sends it in the gap towards right center field. Church is going back. He's going to watch this one. Hits off the very base of the wall. Tatis is racing around third. He'll come in to score. An RBI double for Jackson Merrill, and a 1-run game here in the 6th.
So the Padres once again within a run. Manny Machado struck out to end the inning, stranding that tying run in scoring position. Palante came back out, pitched a 1-2-3. Top of the 7th inning after getting the final out of the 6th. Ron Marinaccio kept it a 1-run game with a scoreless bottom of the 7th. Palante was done after 7 in line for the win. Ryan Stanek came on for the Cardinals. He recorded a 1-2-3. Top of the 8th inning. Wandy Peralta pitched a scoreless bottom half of the 8th inning to keep it a 3-2 game. So the Padres were only down by 1 when the Cardinals closer, Riley O'Brien, who we heard from pregame, entered the game in the top of the 9th inning. Manny Machado would draw a 2-out walk to bring the go-ahead run to the plate in Xander Bogaerts, but Bogaerts grounded out to end the 9th and end the game. And that was that here tonight. Padres offense again quiet. The final score, St. Louis 3, San Diego 2. 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Padres. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Cardinals. Cardinals improve to 40-31. The Padres dropped to 37-35. The Padres had only 2 at-bats tonight with runners in scoring position. They did have a hit in one of them, but again, you look at the offense, the first 2 games of this series, 2 runs on 5 hits total for the Padres, and they have dropped the first 2 games of this 3-game set. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Again, the final today, St. Louis 3, San Diego 2. Our post-game coverage from inside our San Diego studios continues after these words. Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score here tonight. The Padres fall 3-2 to the St. Louis Cardinals. Padres will try to avoid a series sweep at the hands of the Cardinals tomorrow. Padres now 2-3 on this current 9-game road trip. Again, the Cardinals have now won the season series against the Padres. I actually saw a YouTube comment here. We'll hear from Craig Stammen in just a moment as well that made sort of a good point. Padres have lost a couple of key season series. And again, I don't want to get too crazy with the season series stuff because it can matter, certainly when it's all said and done, but it's sort of a silly thing to really focus on too much in mid-June. But I thought the point that somebody made on YouTube was a good one. It's not just the Cardinals they've already lost the season series to. How about the Phillies, too? Remember, they went 0-6 against the Phillies. That season series is over, and that Braves team is really good in Atlanta. They look like they're, we'll see, but they look like they very well could be on their way to winning that division, which would potentially make the Phillies a wild card team. So now you've got two teams that you're battling with, potentially for wild card spots when it's all said and done. You've lost the season series against. And I know it doesn't sound like a whole lot right now, but you know what? Guess what? When you get to September, that's essentially like you've lost a game against those teams now, right in the standings. You tie with them, you're not going to take the tiebreaker. So a bit of an uphill climb battle there. But look, the way you can make all that not matter is just finish better than those teams. And again, very early to be focusing on that kind of stuff. But the Cardinals, with tonight's win, did take the season series officially from the Padres, and the Padres will now try to avoid a sweep at the hands of the St. Louis Cardinals tomorrow. We'll dive in a little bit deeper to Michael King's outing after we hear from Craig Stammen. Again, if you're just joining us, the story of this game, once again, the Padres offense really struggling after a night yesterday where they had no runs on one hit. They had a perfect game going against them for the first 6 innings. Well, Andre Palante had 4 2/3 perfect innings to begin the game, and the Padres only mustered up 2 runs on 4 hits. You look at the first 2 games of this series, it's 2 runs on 5 hits, and your pitching can be really, really good, and it's been fine. In this series, Cardinals have won these games with just 3 runs on the board in each game. But that's a tough way to live when you only have 2 runs on 5 hits over the course of 2 games. Padres trailed 2-0 in this game after Michael King gave up 2 runs in the second. They did get it to within a run in the 5th inning, but then bottom half of the 5th inning, King gave the run right back. Then in the 6th inning, Padres cut it to 3-2. They had the tying run in scoring position, couldn't drive it in, and that ended up being the final runner in scoring position the Padres had in this game, and they fall by a final of 3-2. Let's go back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri, and here's some post-game reaction from Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Found a way to get a few hits, few runs, but not a lot. What did you make of the night against Portland?
Yeah, it was a tough night. We had a couple ABS challenges that were, they nicked the edge, and those are pitches that are tough to hit. Stop that little rally with Sheets getting the walk. We did have a couple hits, back-to-back hits that did score a run, but we weren't able to get that third hit, which is always tough in an inning. And then there was a lot of empty innings where we just didn't have anything going on. But, he threw well. We've got to just be a little bit better against him and, fight him a little harder earlier in the game and get that pitch count up so that we can, make some even more progress, later in the game.
What was the explanation why Lentz didn't ask for help on Manny's?
He said he had it. And I think when we came out there and said it's a big spot and it's a big call, you might want to ask for help, I think he probably agreed. I think if he could do it all over again, he probably would have asked. But, they're umpires. They're not perfect. Neither am I. And so you got to give them a little grace. But, definitely a call that we wish would have been appealed and then, decided from a better angle.
Michael, another rough one. He's definitely going to say that. What did you say?
Yeah, it wasn't, he wasn't sharp from the very beginning. Tons of 3-2 counts. That's not him. Drove his pitch count up, and he kind of fought through it, for 4 innings, and then 5th inning, they got to him the 3rd time through the lineup, which has kind of been par for the course for, our starting rotation. So, Michael's got to lead the way. He's got to be a little bit better. I know he wants to be better, and he will be better going forward.
Do you see much commonality in the at-bats with your first time through your lineup these last 2 nights, trying to get settled in, trying to get into deeper counts? What do you see in those at-bats?
Yeah, I see the pitchers, being the aggressor and us being, somewhat passive, and then we are aggressive. We're putting the ball in play first pitch and getting out. So it's like that fine line of baseball, like, can we wait this guy out, but also can we get the pitch that we're looking for to hit? And so we've just got to be a little bit better at knowing what pitch we can hit and then firing on it and then doing damage on it too. And not just putting it in play, but doing something with it.
I talked to Gavin about this a little bit last night, but just the value of a series of being able to get into bullpens deeper earlier in a series and kind of how that plays out as those go on.
Yeah, we've definitely rested their bullpen the first 2 nights. So, we've got to find a way tomorrow to get their starter out of the game early. That'll bode well for us. That'll mean we got some runs on the board, at least some traffic, and get his pitch count up. And I think we've seen when our offense is going well, it's when we get the starter out of the game early. And when it's not going well, the starter, kind of has his way with us for 6 or 7 innings.
Not to take these lightly, but can you sometimes too just say such a long year, 2 days isn't the end of the world, but how do you kind of balance the two, that it is a long year, but you hate these little stretches too?
Yeah, it is a long year. We just came off a series where we put up a few runs, and now it's hard to come by it. Unfortunately, that's been the majority of our season, or at least the last month and a half of our season. So, it gets to the point where it's a little frustrating and we got to do something about it. I know the guys are putting in all the work early. We're doing every little possible thing that we can to, break out of this and get our hitters hitting. But so far we haven't figured it out yet.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen just moments ago at Busch Stadium in St. Louis following this 3-2 loss for the Padres against the Cardinals. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. As always, our postgame coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Couple of things I want to chew on. And like I already said this at the top of the postgame coverage tonight, I think what is deflating in particular about the last couple of days in St. Louis. And look, anytime you score 2 runs and 5 hits, collect 5 hits in 2 games, it's not very good offensively. Okay. I think it goes without saying. Everybody would agree with that. But I think what's kind of deflating is you felt like in 2 games doesn't make or break a season or a stretch or a month. I get that. But you felt like maybe with the 2 series wins against the Reds and the Orioles, where the offense had been quite a bit more productive, you felt like maybe this offense was starting to come around. And then you've had the last 2 games, which, feels much more like what it's been during some of the roughest stretches of this season to this point, where it's just been a struggle offensively. And I don't know that the Padres I'd have to go look at it. I don't know that they've had back-to-back days, quite frankly, all year, quite like this, where they've had 2 runs on 5 hits total in a 2-game span, and just really nothing going. Again, I'd have to go back and really look at it game by game a little bit, because there have been some quiet stretches for this offense, but it could be the quietest couple of games in a row together they've had all year. So not good in that respect. And you kind of feel like if there was momentum being built, like it's kind of gone by the wayside with how the offense has looked the last couple of days. I do want to talk about Michael King. It's been a bit of an up and down stretch for King. You look at his last 5 starts now. This is going back to May 24th against the Athletics. He has a 6.41 ERA in that span in 5 starts, 26 plus innings. And the thing that is, I don't know if worrisome is the right word. I don't know what word to use for it. Maybe just weird, unusual. That's probably the best word. Unusual about this little stretch is he's just not getting a ton of swing and miss. He's not striking people out. I mean, you look at it tonight, he threw a ton of pitches in 4 innings and a third. That was part of the problem. 93 pitches in less than 5 innings, which is obviously far too high. But of the 44 swings that the Cardinals took against him, 44 swings, he got 4 whiffs in this game. And beyond that, Michael King only had a grand total of a strikeout, one strikeout in 4 innings and a third. And if you go back and you look at some of these starts, he goes 6 2/3 innings in his last start, only strikes out 3. 6 innings the start before that, only strikes out 4. 6 innings the start before that, only strikes out 2. 4 strikeouts in 3 2/3 against the A's. He did have 9 7 innings against the Dodgers. That was a really, really good start. That was the last. The last one was pretty good against the Reds on a day where the Padres bullpen was short. But the last time Michael King looked like dominant Michael King, and from a strikeout standpoint was kind of doing what he usually does, that was in that Dodgers game back on May 18th. He's not getting a ton of swing and miss, and he's not getting a ton of strikeouts right now. Again, if you go and look at his last 5 starts, he's only struck out 14 in 26 2/3 innings. So, the command hasn't quite been there. The strikeouts haven't quite been there for Michael King. Look, with that said today, obviously throwing 93 pitches and not getting out of the 5th inning, that is not what Michael King drew up. And knowing Michael, I think he'd be the first one to say that it's not a good outing for him. I don't think it is, right? 4 innings and a third, you want more than that. You want to leave with your team in the lead, all those things. I'll say this, though, and it brings us to kind of the bigger picture of the Padres pitching in this series. It's not like Michael King gave up 9 runs tonight. He gave up 3. And then the bullpen came in, Matsui inning and a third scoreless, Marinaccio scoreless, Peralta scoreless. Hey, both games of this series, Padres pitching has given up 3 runs in each game. That just shouldn't be insurmountable. You've had a chance to win these games, but with the offense looking the way it's looked over the course of this series so far, it's just not happening. So, again, not a great outing for King by any means, but it's not like he gave up 9 runs and you were totally out of the game. He sort of battled his way through and kept you in the ball game, which I guess was, what you would hope on a day where he clearly didn't quite have his best command or best stuff. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll get into more about tonight's game. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later. Cardinals win it 3-2 on this Tuesday. Our post-game coverage continues after this. Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. See, take a little advice if you're feeling down about the Padres right now from our intro music there. Sing a song. Sing a song. It'll make you feel better. Tough couple of days for the Padres. Hey, I mean, what else do you want me to say? That's the best I got tonight for you. Hamby. Jeff Hamby, our studio coordinator, saying you could sing a song. I think he said you could touch grass. Yeah, you could go outside. You could go outside as well. Okay. All right. Back to the baseball here. Padres fall 3-2 to the St. Louis Cardinals on this Tuesday night. Look, we've talked plenty about the ball game so far. We've recapped it. We've heard from Craig Stammen. I say sort of jokingly, I don't know what to say, but there is a little truth in that because hey, when your offense continues to struggle and the numbers are what they are overall, and the last couple of days have looked how they've looked, it's hard to kind of know, well, put it this way. It's not hard to know what to say. I think the answer is so obvious that it just makes it a very short answer. You got to hit. You have to find ways to score more runs. There's just nothing more to it. And do some damage against a starting pitcher, which the Padres, for the most part, have not done in the first two games of this series. May going 9 complete innings yesterday, a one-hitter on 101 pitches, and then Palante was great tonight. I mean, he was perfect almost through 5 full innings and ends up going 7, giving up just 2 runs on 4 hits. So sometimes the answer and the analysis is quite simple. Padres got a hit, and hopefully they can find a way to do that tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, I would imagine at some point tonight or early tomorrow morning, we'll find out what the Padres pitching plan is. Now, it is Griffin Canning's turn in the rotation. It has been TBD for the Padres as far as a starter, so it certainly has seemed like they are considering using an opener tomorrow like they did for Giolito yesterday. But, they're never going to give you the opener before the game ends the night before because they got to see what the bullpen looks like and who's used and who's fresh and how they want a game plan for it. But it did sound like they will use an opener ahead of Griffin Canning tomorrow, and then Canning will be the bulk innings guy. So, look, the Padres are trying like they did yesterday to do something a little bit different and try to get Griffin Canning, A, to be more effective, and I think B, equally as important, deeper into the game. So we'll see who will start tomorrow's game, and we'll see what the pitching plan is for the Padres. They will try to avoid a sweep in St. Louis. Let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Our relief pitcher of the game tonight, look, everybody did a good job out of the bullpen. Matsui, Marinaccio, Peralta, combining their lines, 3 2/3 scoreless innings. Now, Matsui did give up an inherited run on the sac fly to Nootbaar in the 5th inning, and quite frankly, that ended up being a big deal. It ended up being the game-deciding run when it was all said and done, that 3rd run for the Cardinals. So I'm not going to give it to Yuki tonight because he did give up that key inherited run to score. I'll give it to Ron Marinaccio. I mean, Ron comes in, gets out of the 6th inning with an inherited runner and a runner in scoring position, no less, gets out of the inning to keep it at a 3-2 game at that point, then pitches a scoreless 7th inning, despite giving up a single and a walk. So Ron Marinaccio, will give it to him. Inning and a 3rd scoreless, a hit, a strikeout, and a walk today. But all in all, again, even though Michael King wasn't great tonight by any means, hey, pitching ain't the problem in this series so far. They've given up 3 runs each night, so that should hypothetically not be insurmountable. Pretty nice job by everybody out of the bullpen here tonight. Let's tell you about the Padres' heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the heart of the order. Presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Part of the order here tonight, it's not particularly pretty. Manny Machado Xander Bogaerts, Gavin Sheets, 3, 4, 5 spots. They went a combined 0 for 10 with a walk. They struck out 4 times combined. Manny 0 for 3 with a walk. Xander was 0 for 4. Gavin Sheets was 0 for 3. So quiet night for the heart of the order. Padres need more from that grouping. No doubt about it. We'll see if they can get the offense revved up again tomorrow. When we come back, we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. If you want to squeeze a phone call in, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call. We'll get you ready for the finale of this series in St. Louis as well. Final score today, Cardinals 3, Padres 2 on the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score tonight, the Cardinals 3, Padres 2. Padres will try to bounce back in the series finale in St. Louis tomorrow. Padres have an off day on Thursday, then the third leg of their 9-game road trip, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, against the Rangers in Arlington, Texas. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Tuesday evening.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Let's go through the finals. The Phillies beat the Marlins 8-2 in Philadelphia. Kyle Schwarber's 25th home run of the year in that one. Nationals beat the Royals 6-4 in D.C. Curtis Mead, a 3-run home run in that win for the Nats. The Blue Jays beat the Red Sox 6-1 at Fenway for the Blue Jays. In that one, George Springer, Andres Jimenez, Davis Schneider all hit home runs. Dylan Cease picked up the win in that game. So he's having a good year for the Blue Jays, a 2.71 ERA so far. The Yankees beat the White Sox 12-2 in New York. Paul Goldschmidt, Jose Caballero, Spencer Jones, and Ben Rice all hit home runs for the Yankees. Reds beat the Mets 5-3 in Cincinnati. Spencer Steer, Sal Stewart hit home runs in that game for the Reds. The Giants and the Braves, they were suspended in the bottom half of the second inning in Atlanta. Giants leading 3-2, suspended due to rain. They will resume that game tomorrow, then play the regularly scheduled game in the evening in Atlanta. Brewers beating the Guardians today 2-1. In Milwaukee, Bryce Terang, Garrett Mitchell home runs in that game for the Brew Crew. Rockies beat the Cubs 5-2 in Chicago. The Twins beat the Rangers 12-2 in Arlington. Astros of the Tigers 4-2 in Houston. Games going on right now. The Angels leading the Diamondbacks 6-0 in Arizona in the sixth inning. Orioles and the Mariners are tied at 1 in Seattle in the seventh. A's lead the Pirates 4-3 in Sacramento in the sixth inning. And finally, the Rays and the Dodgers are scoreless in the sixth inning in LA. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Tuesday evening. Final score here today, 3-2. Cardinals win it over the Padres. Let's hear tonight's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
3-1. Matsui delivers. Newbar swings, sends it in the air, left center, not terribly deep. It's going to be Merrill going to get it. Herrera tagging at third. Jackson's throw is on the way home, cut by France. A sac fly for Lars Newbar, and the Cardinals get that run back. It's 3-1.
Well, not every day we have a sac fly as play of the game, and trust me, not what we wanted with the sac fly from the Cardinals being play of the game, but tell you what, I don't see how it's not our play of the game. Ended up being the game-winning run. The sac fly by Newbar in the fifth inning. That was the run that made it 3-1. The Padres would make it 3-2, but that would end up being the final score. That third run for the Cardinals was the game winner. I'll tell you what else was, I think, deflating and disappointing about that run in the fifth inning. The Padres had just made it a one-run game. I understand they just got a single run. It's not the biggest deal in the world. But meanwhile, you just cut the deficit in half. You're on the board, and then King goes out, hits a batter, gives up a single, and ultimately the hit batsman comes in to score. And it's just not the kind of inning you wanted from King in that spot. At the starts of the inning, certainly. And Yuki Matsui gives up the inherited runner, scoring, and ends up being the game-deciding run. So big play, and unfortunately, that was today's play of the game. All right, taking a look ahead to tomorrow, a first pitch time of 11:15 a.m. tomorrow. We'll be on the air with you at 10:15 a.m. with our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show right here on the Padres Radio Network. Now, we told you a little bit earlier, Griffin Canning, it's his turn in the rotation for the Padres tomorrow. But again, right now it's TBD as far as the starting pitcher. It sounds like the Padres will use an opener tomorrow. So right now the opener is TBD. Griffin Canning should get bulk innings. On the mound for the Cardinals, right-hander Kyle Leahy. And again, first pitch tomorrow, series finale. Padres will try to avoid a sweep at 11:15 a.m. here on the West Coast. And our pregame coverage will begin at 10:15. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well in video form. A look at the final totals in this one here this evening. For the Cardinals, 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors. They left on 12. For the Padres, 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors. They left on 2. The winning pitcher tonight, Andre Palante, who improves to 8-4. Losing pitcher Michael King drops to 4-6. And the Cardinals closer, Riley O'Brien, picks up his 18th save of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 43 minutes. And the crowd at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri on this Tuesday night, 29,604. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, an early one, 11:15 a.m. Pregame coverage begins at 10:15. Until then, for our great studio coordinator tonight, Jeff Hamby, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from inside our San Diego studios. Again, the final score tonight, the St. Louis Cardinals 3 and the San Diego Padres 2. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.